Billy Bryan, and welcome to Study Sessions. Do. Today we are discussing the market revolution. So before we start, we need to figure out what is the market revolution. And we're going to start with when did it start? It was in the first half of the 19th century. Century. Sorry about my handwriting. It was the first half of the 19th century. It was in the era of good feeling. It was led by new technology like new transporting routes, canals, railroads, and telegraphs and factories, and I'll go into details for all of those. First off, they had new transport routes. This really helped out because instead of having to go all the way the long way around and cross an ocean, they created new roads to help people trade faster and get people other places, and it would help them save money, which kept leading up, and they finally made the National Road, which connected Cumberland to Wheeling. Next, we have canals. Canals are very important because it led to the invention of steamboats, which steamboats are very important because it led to more canals being built, um, which more canals being built led to more steamboats being built, which it all just worked in a giant cycle. And this influenced more trade and increased economic growth. Next, we have railroads, which, in my opinion, was the most important invention of this era for the reason that it influenced trade a lot more. It allowed you to get places faster and cheaper, and it connected a lot more trades. I think it's one of the most important things because it led to other inventions in later periods, such as the streetcar and even the automobile, which pretty much everybody uses today. With all these new technologies for faster transportation, big businesses started to grow. You started seeing more factories popping up, which at first they relied on water energy, but soon after the steamboat was invented, started relying more on the steam factories, which allowed factories to pop up in different places because the water-based factories, of course, had to be by water. But once they started relying on steam-based factories, more and more factories started popping up, which affected the American culture. Before the market revolution, most people made their money by working at their homes, making different clothing, and selling them out. But once steam factories started popping up everywhere and people found a new opportunity to make more money, people changed from working from their homes to their homes and going to work in factories. This changed even time because instead of an agricultural society and economics, they would use the sun to tell like when work started. Did it. Now you were determined when work started and work ended by the clock. Also, you saw a lot more women in the workplace because they would work for cheaper because they still weren't supposed to be the person um, like providing money for the family. They were just supposed to be getting extra money. So people, that's how they said that they would pay them cheaper. Side note, this is actually where wages came from too, where you would get paid a certain amount for how many hours you worked. And we still use that system today. But this in the future causes a big fuss on how much you should make per hour, and that's where we get labor unions and other things like that that start popping up at the end of this era. And I know the big question that everybody's wondering, what about the immigrants? Well, with more factories popping up, people wanted to go and have their own opportunities to have big business. So that's whenever that lady we call Manifest Destiny started moving. A lot of people followed with it just so they would have more opportunity to start their own businesses. But with everybody moving and leaving their areas, businesses had hard times finding people to work for them. Which at first it became more women in the workforce, but then they started hiring more immigrants because they could pay them cheaper and they needed jobs. So another huge question that you may have is who funded all this? Who built all the roads and stuff? And the answer to that is actually our government. And they're funding it for the reasons that of competition. See, if you're competing with another company, if they start you out and you start competing with another country, you're bound to grow and grow. And the more that big businesses grew, the more the U.S. economy was being fed, which just all around made us a better country. If you're anything like me, you're thinking, man, the market revolution was great. I don't believe anybody could be against it. Well, there you'd be wrong. There were actually a lot of people against it for the reason that they believed that it limited freedom, People were getting mad about the wages and the conditions they were in the labor force, which leads to a lot of conflict, which, what I said earlier in this video, leads to labor unions and different strikes against the government, which led to a lot of change policies, which I won't get to in this video, but if I do a video about a different area, I'll definitely get to. So I hope this video helped. If it did, give it a thumbs up. If it didn't, leave down in the comments for things that I missed or didn't say or elaborate enough. If you want to leave something down in the comments to help other people out, that'd be great. I'm Bailey, and good morning, good afternoon, or good night.